Hey, nice snag on first, Erica. Welcome in. Alrighty. I'm hoping my mic is working, but like every other stream, I'm going to check it from my phone because I always have some bullshit to deal with. Yep, it works. Okay, sweet. I'm gonna wait a few minutes. I'm gonna get started. But yeah, I'm pretty much going to be breaking down the entire Halloween franchise, um, and how addressing plot holes, inconsistencies, what movies connect to what. It's going to be a wild one. Obviously the Rob Zombie movies are standalone, and we'll get into that. But I'm also going to focus on the original series and how many of them cancel each other out and ignore things. This is going to be a crazy stream, honestly. It's so if I don't know if some people realize how convoluted the Halloween franchise is. Like everything, almost every movie retcons a previous movie. It's kind of nuts. Um, so I'm gonna wait till we got an ad break coming up. I'm gonna wait till after that. That actually gives me a minute to post the link in a few places and wait for more people, hopefully. Anyway, how's everyone's night going? Appreciate you being here. Lurk, yeah, I know you got in. I appreciate the lurk. I know you got in the dude stream. You got to keep an eye on. Appreciate you being here though. Alrighty. I'm gonna get into it in just a minute. Right. So I'll go ahead and get started because it's gonna take me a little bit to break all this down, honestly. Hmm. So if you've never seen the Halloween movies, there are going to be some spoilers in this video. There's nothing I can really do about that because I have to discuss mostly certain characters who pop up in one movie and then sometimes they're never referenced again, or in another movie, like their life, I guess, takes a completely different turn that doesn't really make any sense with what they did before. So there's going to be some craziness with that. So there will be spoilers. I don't really have to talk about, for the most part, I don't really have to talk about who lives and who dies because it's kind of irrelevant to what I'm going to discuss. But there will probably be some spoilers of who makes it and doesn't throughout the movies. So, hey, nice. All right, so right out the bat, um, Halloween. Actually, I need to do this real quick. One last thing. One last, real quick. And some of these, I'll give reasoning if there's any questions on like why. I'll explain as I go. But if there's any questions on like why I'm branching some of these together, like if you missed it, I'll go back and explain. Just ask. But there's definitely going to be some that's going to be like kind of debatable. But I've done a pretty little bit good of research into this, so I think I'm confident in my assessment, I guess. All right, so I'm gonna get this one out the way because this is a quick and easy one, honestly, even though it's not the first one in order. Let's see. All right. Image. Actually, I'm just gonna go ahead and do it like this. Let me see. Instead of doing a bunch of different clicking, I'm just gonna do all this at one time. Okay. Oh no, I can't. I can't break those apart, can I? Oh, I can. Okay. Let me delete this one. Don't need that. All right. I'm going to shrink these down. I just want them all on the screen at once so I don't have to keep going like click, open, click, open, click, open. It's kind of ridiculous. This will just save me a lot of time later. I'm going to... All right. So where's the one I'm looking for first? Get the easiest one out the way. All right. So Halloween 3 right here is the easiest one to tackle. It is completely separate from every other Halloween movie. There is no connection to any of the Halloween movies, with one exception being that Jamie Lee Curtis, who played Laurie in most of the movies, has a voice role in this movie. It's, I think, like someone who answers the phone or does like a TV ad, but she's not even really playing her former character. So Halloween 3 is 100% divergent from everything else in the series. There is no, as far as I'm aware, there was never a single connection made. Michael Myers, I don't even think he's mentioned in the movie. And we'll get into why that is in a little bit. But I just want to get this easy one out the way. Halloween 3 is its own separate continuity. I'll explain why that is later. That has to do with Halloween 1 and 2, which I want to get into shortly. Let's see. Nope, must be... Okay. So, this one is a little bit of a technicality thing, but technically, it didn't really pan out this way, but originally Halloween 1 was supposed to be its own individual thing, kind of like Halloween 3. And this is what I meant when I said I'll get back to Halloween 3 in a minute. So, originally Halloween was supposed to... The way it ends... I guess this is going to be a spoiler, but this movie's like 50 years ago. Michael Myers escapes at the end. He's not dead, but he's just gone. Originally, that was supposed to be the kind of the conclusion. They wanted I believe it's called anthology, where every Halloween movie was going to be a different storyline. Michael Myers was actually not supposed to return. And we'll get more into that later. So technically, this one's a little debatable, but I'm going to run with it as one anyway. Technically, Halloween 1 can be considered one of the separate timelines on its own. But we're going to come back to that because that's a matter of debate. And it was pretty quickly retconned, but originally that is how it was supposed to go. It was supposed to be standalone like Halloween 3 was later. And we're skipping over, now we're going to get to Halloween 1 and 2. Yeah, this is going to be a lot of information, by the way, so, and I can't really go back. I will have this on YouTube at some point if anyone wants to watch it at a later time or misses anything, because I'm just going to have to keep rolling forward best I can. All right, Halloween 1 and 2 was also intended to be... So when they made Halloween 1, they wanted it to be a standalone. Michael Myers was extremely popular. Fans wanted more. They brought Michael back for Halloween 2. And then that was, again... I haven't seen a lot of the classic movies Halloween, can you believe? Oh, wow. Well, you're going to be hearing some minor to moderate spoilers, so I'm sorry in advance if you hang around. I won't spoil most of the movies, but I have to talk about certain details to explain the timelines, because it's a crazy thing, actually. Okay, so Halloween 1 was supposed to be standalone. Michael Myers was popular. They brought him back for Halloween 2. And this is where Halloween 2 kind of makes a mess of the franchise a little bit. So Halloween... Yeah, fair enough. Halloween 1 originally, we don't really... In the first movie, you don't really understand why Michael is chasing Laurie, the main girl. There's no explanation actually given in Halloween 1. It was meant... And again, it was supposed to be a one-off. You weren't supposed to really know the answer to the question, why is he pursuing this girl? Is it random? Is there a reason? You get that answer in Halloween 2, and this is where the franchise kind of starts to go off the rails a little bit. So Halloween 2, you get the revelation that Michael Myers and Laurie, the main girl, are brother and sister from... she was adopted years ago from his family, so on. I mean, like you say, this is old news. This movie's been around a long time. But that little detail is going to come back later, in a crazy way. So then you have Halloween 1 and 2, and then Michael Myers is killed at the end of Halloween 2, except, of course, wait, he's not, because that's the way this seems to go. So now this brings us to our third Paranormal Activity day. Some of them were pretty good, some of them were kind of whatever, but some of them are definitely pretty chilling. Okay, what is this? I don't know what that is, but it needs to stop. Alright, now we get to the third timeline, which... I think I can duplicate this. Copy. Yes, that's going to save me trouble later, too. Paste. Where did it go? Where did it paste to? Oh, okay. So now we're gonna get to the third timeline. I hope I have enough lines for this. I might not have enough lines. I might have to move one of them out a little further and make another set of. It's fine. We'll tackle that when it gets there. So now we have the third timeline, which, again, and I know I just said Michael Myers died in Halloween 2, but now we're getting to where, once again, Michael Myers was too popular to stay dead, so he comes back again. Only the first, okay, I think it's piece of art. Second's still good, but no, the rest is the same over and over again. Yeah, that's fair. That's valid. And that's something I'm going to address, actually, later in this video. So now we get to the third timeline. We have Halloween 1, 2. We're skipping over 3 because, again, 3 is totally separate. Has nothing to do with Michael Myers. I'm not even going to talk about it again for the rest of the video because it has no importance. So we're skipping that. We're going back to Michael Myers. We got Halloween 4 and 5 and 6 now in this branch timeline. And this is where things start to get kind of nuts. And it gets worse from here. So now, in Halloween 4, this is where this is going to get conflicting. In Halloween 4, there is a child in the movie, a little girl, played by Danielle Harris, who, funnily enough, will come back in the Rob Zombie Halloween movies later as a totally different actress. Kind of wild how that happens, actually, but we'll come back to her. But she's playing a girl named Jamie in this movie. She's the main girl. Laurie is just not around. And I don't know if it's ever fully confirmed, but it's definitely implied. There's a newspaper clipping that's... She was adopted. And there's a newspaper clipping she has that indicates her mother dies in a car crash. I don't know if it's ever been explicitly confirmed, but it's widely accepted that she's Laurie's daughter. And we're gonna dive into that because that makes this is when the series starts to get crazier and crazier. So Jamie, the main girl, seems to be a daughter of Laurie. Laurie is presumed dead in a car crash. She's not seen again after Halloween 2. We're gonna come back to her though, because even though I just said she's not seen again, she is actually seen again. There's gonna be a lot of this crazy backtracking, like I'm contradicting myself, but it's not me. It's the way these movies are done. But for the time being, Laurie is out of the picture. Jamie's the new lead. She's in 4, 5, and 6, although in 6 she was actually recast with a different actress. I don't really know why. It was a money issue, but still the same character. Almost got killed by my water. So 4, 5, and 6 follows the story of Jamie. And then in 6, her storyline wraps up. But there's a really weird ending to 6 that had some implications later. So 6 is the curse of Michael Myers. And this is where the storyline starts to get really, really weird if you don't think it is already. There's literally a cult that's brought into the mix. Like, if it wasn't weird enough with all this craziness, now we have a cult. There's a cult of Michael Myers, essentially. He doesn't lead it, but they kind of treat him as a figurine at the top. They worship him. Yeah, it's going to get crazier and crazier from here, I promise. And I wish I was... I know how ridiculous this sounds, but it's just... you'll see. So there's a cult of Michael Myers. The 6th movie ends very strangely. So there's a deleted scene of the 6th one. An alternate ending that was never put in the movie, but you can actually find it. And it is wild. So, the canon ending to the 6th one is like... The doctor from the... Dr. Loomis, he was in the first one, and the second one, and 4th, and 5th, and 6th. And he goes back in at the very climax of the movie. He goes back in the building where Michael was last seen. He screams off panel, and he's never seen again. The implication is that Michael probably killed him, but we don't really know what happened. But in the deleted scene, we do know the deleted ending, alternate ending. We do see what happens, although it's technically not considered canon anymore. But it's still interesting. He goes back in the building after Michael. And the cult is pretty much all dead at this point. And the former cult leader tells him that he's in charge of Michael now. And I don't remember, he grabs him or something. And then, hello, appreciate you popping in. Yeah, don't stay up all night though. Yeah, but this series is off the rails. So you get to the ending of 6. There's this ending that's really ambiguous. Like, it doesn't really know what happens to the doctor. He never comes back, but in real life he does pass away around this time. And this is probably one reason they changed the ending, because they were setting up something they could never follow through on. How was work? Work was good. Hey, Maury. Yeah, I know, Olivia, you can't hang around, but y'all are like prime time for this going completely off the rails. Okay. So that's the 4th timeline of Halloween series. God, I'm gonna be saying that a lot. Now let's get to the fifth timeline because I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna actually move this one since it's technically Halloween 3. I'm gonna keep these somewhat in order best I can. Halloween 1 as a timeline, Halloween 1 and 2 as a timeline, Halloween 3 as its own timeline by itself for reasons, whatever. Now we get to the fourth timeline of Halloween 1, 2. I swear I'm not bad at math. I'm this, as dumb as this sounds, this is how this goes. So Halloween 1 is a timeline, Halloween 1 and 2 is another timeline. Although I can kind of merge those together technically, but originally it's a whole thing. I won't put you off anymore. You're good. Halloween 3 is a timeline that connects to nothing else ever. Then you have the fourth timeline of the Halloween series. 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6. I am not shitting you. Now we're going to go to the fifth timeline. And by the way, we're only in 5. We're about halfway through the series. So yeah, you see how this is going, right? Oh, so many timelines. It's going to get worse. This is still midway. Crazy. All right. Halloween 1 and 2 again, because pretty much every timeline starts with 1 and 2. And you know how like we just had Halloween 1 and then we have Halloween 1 and 2 is like I could really get rid of the first one because technically that was changed later, but originally it was going to be its own thing. And then they were like, "Hey, let's make a number 2 and then wrap it up." And then they made a third one that is definitely its own thing. And then they were like, "We want more. People want more Michael Myers." So then technically like this is a retcon of that, which is a retcon of that. Yeah. So it was like it was going to be this, and then it was going to be this, and then it ended up becoming this. And it's just getting worse from here. Now we're starting over again, and we're ignoring 4, 5, and 6 now, by the way. So, yeah, this is a thing. Now we're getting into the fifth timeline. Halloween 1, 2, I shit you not, 7, and 8. That's the timeline. Halloween 1, Halloween 2, Halloween 7, Halloween 8. Or also known as H2O and Resurrection. This is the fifth timeline. So Halloween 1 happens, it wraps up, and then they're like, "We want more Michael Myers. We got Halloween 2 now to finish that story. Then we're going to stop it forever. We're coming up with Halloween 3, no Michael Myers at all. Then they're like, people want more Michael Myers, and they're like, all right, we're going to add 4, 5, and 6 now and continue the story of 1 and 2. And then they were like, we want more Michael Myers. We're going to make 7 and 8, and we're going to completely ignore 4, 5, and 6. So in 4, 5, and 6, I mentioned like Laurie Strode had a daughter named Jamie, who is the main character in these 3 movies. She doesn't exist anymore. 4, 5, and 6, she was never mentioned again. Laurie never had a daughter. Laurie comes back. She has a son now, played by Josh Hartnett. These events of 4, 5, and 6 never happened. See where I'm saying this timeline thing just gets worse? We're not done yet either. Now we're going to get into Rob Zombie's Halloween movies. I don't really have to talk much about them because kind of like Halloween 3, they're standalone. But we're getting into I'm definitely going to have to use more lines over here. I got too many. I fucked up. I needed more. Now we got Rob Zombie, Halloween 1 and 2. Not much to say about them. They're standalone. Everybody's recast. Although, interestingly, the girl from 4, 5, and 6 who played Little Jamie actually comes back as a totally different character, much older, unrelated, in Rob Zombie Halloween movies. So that was kind of a nice little cool Easter egg, I guess. Anyway. All right, so Rob Zombie Halloween happens. Now we're going back to our roots. And remember when I just said it gets worse and it gets worse and it gets worse? Nothing makes sense. I got to move these up. It's about to change everything yet again. If you're getting tired about this, I'm sorry. It doesn't get any better from here. Actually, we've gotten through a lot of it, but it's going to do it again. Now we have Halloween 1. Copy. Notice I'm not referencing Halloween 2. It doesn't exist anymore. Now we're in a whole new timeline again. Yep, we're doing this. I keep grabbing the wrong thing. Yeah. Rob Zombie movie back when I was a kid. Big mistake. They actually were not bad movies, honestly. But I don't hate them, but I have mixed feelings because they made Michael Myers a mentally ill kid, and I have mixed feelings about how that was handled. Because, like, obviously he's a murderer in all the movies, but, like, in Rob Zombie specifically, he was, like, mentally ill. And I don't know, I don't know how I feel about how they went that approach. But I get what they were doing. So now we're back to Halloween 1. Ignore everything that's happened already. None of this matters anymore. Where did the other Halloween one go? Oh, okay, hold on. Um, what? Where did it go? Okay, fine, whatever. Okay, back up here where you're supposed to be. Now we're going back to the one, two, three, four, five, sixth timeline now. One, two, three. I'm sorry, seventh timeline. We're at 7. And this will be the final timeline. It was 7. Now we're back to Halloween 1, and there is no Halloween 2. There's no 4, 5, 6, Halloween 7, Halloween 8. None of that exists anymore. Um, Now we get to the fun part. Where is the other one at? I'm missing one. Hold on. That's okay. Oh, I'm not missing it. They're both right here. Okay. Wait, is that it? I think it is. Hold on. Yeah, Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends. Okay. So now we're in the more recent movies that just came out. Halloween Kills. Oh, actually, I did miss one. I'm sorry. I had a moment. I gotta fix this. Yeah. See, it's even confusing me. All right, Halloween 2018, also called Halloween. All right, we got one more. Yeah, this one. Now we're in the last timeline, and this is where I'm going to lose my mind finally and show you just how ridiculous this series is. Um, okay, this is Halloween Ends, but I already have Halloween Ends, so I don't need this. I can get rid of that one technically. Okay, yeah. So now we're at Halloween 1, Halloween 2.0, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends. So we had Halloween 1, and then they were like, we need more Michael Myers. We got Halloween 2 to give another ending. We have Halloween 3, nothing to do with anything. Then they were like, people want more Michael Myers. We get 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6. And then for whatever reason, they wanted to pivot back to Laurie Strode, which was a problem because Laurie Strode was considered dead in 4, 5, and 6 from a car crash that's never explained other than it just happened. So they were like, we want more Laurie Strode. So they wiped 4, 5, and 6 and went back to 1 and 2. And then we get H2O and Resurrection 7 and 8. And then there was a reboot where Rob Zombie did his version of it. All right. And then that didn't really pan out well long term. So they went back and they rebooted it. They redid it again. And this time, Halloween 2 never happens. And I said I was going to talk about that in a minute. And this is why. So Halloween 2, as I said earlier, in case you weren't here, is the one where it's revealed that like Michael Myers and Laurie is Michael Myers' sister from after he killed his other sister. She was put up for adoption. Michael went to mental hospital. He breaks out. Halloween 1, he's stalking Laurie, but we don't really know why yet. In the first movie, it's not revealed. She just seems like the product of bad luck. Halloween 2 tells us that Laurie is Michael Myers' sister. Unequivocally. Like, there's like a scene in the movie where they bring out like adoption papers. They say, this is Michael Myers' sister. This is why he's chasing her. This is confirmed again, by the way, in Halloween H2O. This is confirmed by Laurie herself, who says she is Michael Myers' sister, unequivocally. So, just when you think it can't get messier, we go back to, after Rob Zombie, we go back to Halloween again, and then they skip over number 2, where Michael Myers was revealed to be Laurie's sister. Laurie was really Michael Myers' sister, I'm sorry. We get a 2018 Halloween movie where it is unequivocally stated by Laurie that Michael Myers being her brother was completely made up. In the movie, the whole Michael Myers being Laurie Strode's brother is considered a rumor within the movie. Like, somebody in the town just made it up, I guess, for the purposes of the movie. So, like, see what I say when I say this timeline thing is crazy? We go from, like, characters, like, everything contradicts itself. It's so 1 happens, she's just a random girl, bad luck. 1 and 2, she's Michael Myers' sister now. Okay. 3 doesn't matter. 4, 5, and 6, she dies. She has a daughter. Michael Myers terrorizes her daughter. H2O and 7 and 8 get made. She never had a daughter. She never died in a car crash. She has a son instead, about the same age her daughter would have been at this point, which, okay. We skip over Rob Zombies because it's kind of irrelevant. Then we go back to Halloween again. Now we're skipping over everything that else that has happened in the entire series after the first movie. She was never Michael Myers' sister. Michael, instead of escaping after the first movie and doing his rampages over the decades, Michael went to a mental institution for 40 years, broke out, and Laurie was just kind of like a mixture of bad luck again slash someone else wanting Michael to. There's other factors at play, but it's her being his sister is completely retconned out of the series forever. And like I said, they even make a remark, which they did intentionally when they were filming, that she openly says that someone made up her being Michael Myers' sister, just some random person in the community. So see why I say this series is really confusing if you watch it all. Like everything steps on itself later. Now, I'm going to go back a little bit because I want to talk about the number 6, the Cult of Michael Myers. Because there's some weird things that happen after this movie's made that actually have implications in other movies for reasons that make no sense. So, remember when I said, okay, so that's timeline number 5 we're at with Halloween 6. Timeline number 4 with Halloween 6. Even though these movies are retconned out of existence technically by literally the next film in the franchise where like none of that ever happened, there is a weird thing in the Halloween Resurrection that is shown and is never elaborated on. Oh, and by the way, to the beginning of Halloween Resurrection, I almost forgot this detail. And this was a dialogue that was put in the movie to make you understand that nothing makes sense anymore. So this random guy in the mental institution where Michael goes sees Michael leaving and he's like obsessed with him. He's like a fan or whatever. And he starts talking about the previous movies. And this is how you know that 4, 5, and 6 never happened, because he references Michael Myers' previous killing sprees. And he talks about the events of Halloween 1, the events where Michael killed high school students and whoever else, events of Halloween 2, where Michael killed people at a hospital, the events of Halloween H2O, where Michael killed more people at a school, and then this is the beginning of this movie. So 4, 5, and 6 were never mentioned by this guy because it's like they were making you aware that those movies never happened. So they were like, Michael killed in Halloween 1, Michael killed in Halloween 2, he killed in Halloween 7, and this is the beginning of Halloween 8. This is where we are. See the stress it is to try to like keep this shit in line. But back to Halloween 6, there, like I mentioned, there's a cult in there, which actually shows up in 5, sort of, or is implied in 5 and really makes a presence in 6. And in Halloween Resurrection, there's like this weird scene that has no explanation given to it late in the movie where underneath Michael Myers' house, there's a tunnel, because of course there is, behind a basement wall. And the tunnel leads to like an iron gate with a lock on it. And they find it, and it's never opened. And all you see is that it's a very long tunnel leading into, I don't know, something somewhere. And I think this was like sort of a leftover from the whole cult thing. Like there was like a basement under his house led to like a hidden room or a tunnel to a hidden room, but it literally never gets referenced again. You don't see where the tunnel goes. It's just there. Like, chase the kid with the car and tries to hit them. That is Halloween. It's either 4 or 5. It is either 4 or 5. I know exactly what you're talking about. I want to say that's Halloween 5. It's definitely Halloween 5. I know the scene. Yeah, he chases the kid with the car. And I think he actually does hit the kid. I don't think they ever show the kid actually die, but the kid got hit by a car. He probably died. And even if he didn't, it still shows that Michael was perfectly willing to kill children. Like, even if the kid didn't die from being hit, Michael still hit him. He has no qualms about killing children. So, crazy. Why did he do that? Because he's Michael Myers. He's pure evil. And I'm going to discuss that more. So, remember what? So, and I know I'm going to say it again, like I'm backtracking, and you're going to be like, you keep contradicting yourself, and it's not my fault. I don't make these movies. So, remember when I said like the events of 4, 5, and 6 never happened? They were never referenced again. Well, I sort of lied, because it does. So in 4 and 5, Michael has this weird, completely unexplained psychic link with his niece, which has no explanation given. He just does. She can like see some of his thoughts, and he could see some of her thoughts because sure, why not? We're getting into. I mean, we're next movie we go into a cult anyway, so sure. It's actually in 5 when this starts happening. So Michael sort of like seemingly possesses his niece somehow through some psychic means at the end of 4, and this is a big part of Halloween 5 because she has a link to him and she can see what he's seeing and doing, and he can see what she's seeing and doing. So it's like they're playing cat and mouse trying to keep her hidden from him. And again, I know I said the events of this movie are never referenced again, and they're not. But in Halloween Ends, Michael Myers, for reasons once again, completely not explained, just like in Halloween 5, is able to sort of do like some psychic possession, corruption type thing to a person yet again with no explanation given. And it just, you see why this, you start to see why this is a headache, because they retcon the previous movies and they're like they didn't exist, but things that happened in that movie happen again in another movie to another person through another means. See, like it's like they just. And mind you, I'm doing all of this without taking any notes. I'm actually impressed with myself because I have all this memorized. I've seen these movies so many times. I have no notes in front of me right now. I'm doing this purely on memory. It's insane. But in Halloween Ends, just like in Halloween 5, Michael is able to corrupt another person and make them do bad things from a distance. It's not even possession. It's like a weird psychic influence. I don't really know what else to call it. It happens again, and that will bring me to the timeline thing is done. But I do have some more stuff that I want to talk about. But this is the 7 timelines. You could really make the first. You can make the first line, the second line, and the fourth line technically one timeline, but it's just that, like I said earlier, it was Halloween 1, and then they wanted more, so they added Halloween 2 and kind of changed the ending of 1 a little bit. Not really, but they expanded the ending of number 1 leading into number 2. They definitely changed the ending of number 2 after this, because at the end of 2, Michael was seemingly killed. This was the original idea. Michael Myers was going to die at the end of 2. He escapes at the end of 1. They wanted it to be left open. Fans wanted more. They gave him more. They wanted to wrap up his story at the end of number 2. Michael canonically died at the end of number 2 until he didn't, because fans wanted him again. So instead of Michael dying, Michael went into a coma. That's how number 4 starts. Michael wakes up out of a coma. It's what they did with Superman way back. Have you ever read the comic, like when he fought Doomsday and Doomsday actually killed Superman? And then later writers were like, what if he didn't? Superman was just sleeping for like a year in a coma. That's exactly what happened with Michael Myers' story. Same exact thing. They were like, oh, he was in a coma. He wasn't really dead. All right. That's how Michael got brought back. And by the way, that's actually the beginning of when Michael becomes supernatural, because in the first movie, he gets shot 6 times and he lives, and, that's pretty crazy, but it's not impossible. And at the end of number 2, he is definitively killed. But then when they get to number 4, they need a way to keep bringing him back, and this is where Michael Myers becomes immortal. Quite literally. Like the end of 4, he is shot like 100 times and halfway blown up. And once again, you guessed it, goes into a coma and wakes up later. See where this is going? See how crazy this series is? Yeah. Michael starts number 4 coming out of a coma and then ends number 4 going into a coma again to wake up for number 5. Anyway, now as far as trying to think if there's anything else of relevance I need to talk about, because boy. I'm gonna go into my favorite Halloween movie and my least favorite. And the favorite one is kind of hard because there's a couple it could be. I'm also kind of trying to draw the stream out to about an hour because I've pretty much gone through everything faster than I thought I would. So I'm gonna go over the one I like the most and why, and the one I like the least and why. And the one I like the most, I have 2 answers for that. Because one of them is based on a body count, which is absolutely absurd in that movie. And I mean, that's what we're here for. It's a horror movie. We're here for the body counts, right? But as far as the one I think was my favorite storyline wise, believe it or not, I would almost give it to Rob Zombie Halloween number 1. Because they do even though I said earlier, like, they went the mentally ill route, and I was not a big fan of that. Sorry, hang on one second. I gotta take a call. All right, sorry about that. Uh, make sure everything's still good. There's that one time I unplugged the mic and then it didn't want to work. Okay, it is good. Um, I actually lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah. So my favorite of the Halloween movies, surprisingly, is the Rob Zombie Halloween one. And I know, like earlier, I said like I didn't really like the mentally ill route they took because it did come off as kind of a bad way to address it, in my opinion. Like, oh, he's schizo, so that's why he does what he does. Or maybe I just like never really having a full explanation for why Michael did the things he did. I don't know. But regardless of kind of disliking the mentally ill route they took with Michael, and, like making it schizophrenia and like his home life sucked. So, I don't know. I have mixed feelings about that. But I will say that the way they set it up did actually make sense because Michael, and this is kind of, it's a mixed feelings for me because like Michael was made in the Rob Zombie one, he was set up to fail. But I also understand that they were doing a realistic approach to like this kid had mental health issues and he was raised in like an abusive household and you can kind of see I appreciate what they were going for. I just also had like I guess it's like the stigma of mental health. I was kind of uncomfortable with some aspects of how that was done. But I will say Rob Zombie did a really good job with the storyline. At least in the first one. Um, my least favorite movie from the Halloween series by far, and I'll explain why. But this is going to be spoilery, and this is okay. It's going to be a little bit spoilery, and it's the most recent Halloween movie, which is Halloween Ends, and I'll explain why I think it's the worst of the Halloween movies. Um, this is going to be a spoiler thing though, so um, Halloween End. Okay, so before I get to that, I need to talk about this is why I hate Halloween Ends the most. I need to talk about the character of Laurie again for a minute. I got to lay the framework for why this is my least favorite Halloween movie because it's a storyline issue. So Halloween, we're talking about the final timeline here. One, Halloween 2.0, I guess you could say, 3.0 and 4.0, which are replacing all the other movies. Um, right. So they retcon out where Michael is Laurie's sister now. That's no longer a thing. Laurie is just an unlucky woman. So after the events of Halloween, Michael was put away for 40 years in this current timeline. That's what happens to Michael. He's put in the mental hospital for 40 years. Dr. Loomis, the guy who was chasing him throughout most of the early movies and who passed away in real life, has passed away sometime in the 40 years, which makes sense because the actor was dead. And he's replaced by a new actor, not a new actor, a new character taking over as his doctor. Completely different character. Um, so this is where the storyline starts to. It goes really good at first, and then it goes downhill. So Michael's put away for 40 years. Laurie has like PTSD, which I think is a great way to showcase it because, like, if you remember the first Halloween movie, which again, none of the others matter anymore because they don't. Laurie was a teenager. Her two best friends were murdered along with their boyfriends. Um, she was nearly murdered, but she escapes, and Michael just kind of disappears. Except that, yet again, we have a retcon I have to discuss. Remember when I said at the end of the first Halloween movie, Michael Myers got away and was never and just kind of escaped? Again, we're not talking about Halloween 2 anymore. It doesn't matter. So now Michael Myers just kind of escaped. At the end of Halloween 1, well, no, he didn't. Because, again, this is a different timeline now. Um, at the end of Halloween 1, Michael is just kind of arrested now. There's literally a scene in the beginning of Halloween Kills that addresses this. Well, I mean, you see in the beginning of this one, Michael is now in a mental hospital. So it retcons the ending of the first one. Here we go. Back at it. At the end, beginning of Halloween Kills, you see the actual scene from decades before where Michael kills Laurie's friends, goes downstairs, he gets stopped by the police. For reasons unknown, he just kind of surrenders. I guess there was just too many of them. And we're going to talk about that because that's a problem in and of itself for later movies. But Michael gets stopped by the police. There's a bunch of them with guns. He just kind of stops. He goes to the mental hospital. He's put away for 40 years. Here we go. We're in Halloween again. Halloween 2018. Halloween 2.0, I guess. Things go badly. Michael escapes the mental hospital like he does in pretty much every time he's put in it, because of course he does. He goes back to Haddonfield. I believe he doesn't escape the prison, the hospital. Technically, he escapes a bus that's taking him somewhere. I believe it was. Yeah, he escapes from a mental transport bus. Which, okay, they happen to be near Haddonfield, so he starts doing this thing again in Haddonfield. Now this is a big change in his character, because originally he just kind of went to Haddonfield for reasons never explained, and then in number two, we're explained that he was there to kill his sister, essentially, again, his other sister. Now we're doing this whole retcon where she's not really his sister after all, so they need a reason for why he's back in Haddonfield. Well, he was just being transported near Haddonfield. The bus crashed. He killed the driver and whoever else, and closest place to him was Haddonfield. So by bad luck, here he is again, like the Grim Reaper, back in the same town. But there's no real motive this time. He's just there, and there's people to kill. Here we go. We get to the events of this movie, and then Halloween Kills takes place the same night. And this is the one I said earlier. I had two favorite movies. One had a big body count. This is the one with the big body count. The finale of this movie is absolutely wild. And just throughout the movie, it's a bloodbath of a movie. I'm pretty sure that he killed like 40 to 50 people in this movie. And I'm not exaggerating those numbers. Yeah, it's pretty wild. Definitely the biggest body count of any of the movies he's done. Not exaggerating, 40 to 50 people easily. Probably not more than that, but between 40 and 50. Then we get to Halloween Ends, and this is where I'm going to tell you why I hate this. This movie was my least favorite. So, Halloween happens, and I know I'm backtracking, but again, I had to lay the foundation. Halloween happens, Michael gets put in prison, Laurie has PTSD over 40 years, she's like a nervous wreck, understandably so. Her worst fears come true because Michael escapes from the transport bus and goes back and makes Laurie's life hell yet again. Same night that happens, Michael has round two and slaughters dozens of people in the city. And then he just, at the end of Halloween Kills, he just kind of vanishes. Now, this is leading into why I say Halloween Ends is my least favorite movie, because it makes absolutely no goddamn sense. And I'm going to tell you why for a couple reasons. One, Halloween happens again, Laurie's PTSD, her worst fear comes true, Michael actually returns. Like, she spent 40 years terrified of him, and he was just locked away. Then he escapes, and her worst fear comes true. She loses more people close to her. They have a little reprieve. Halloween Kills happens. She loses even more people close to her. Michael butchers dozens of people in the town, and then he vanishes at the end of the movie. There is a 4-year gap now. And I want, think about this from the character's point of view of Laurie. You were you were stalked by this guy. Not even stalked. You almost got murdered by this guy who killed your friends when you were younger. You were petrified for decades he would return someday. An understandable fear. It actually happens. He kills, people close to you, and then you escape, and then the same night it happens again almost, and you escape, and he kills dozens of people from your town, and he vanishes. Now, you might be thinking, at this point, she would flee the fucking country, right? Like most people would. You would be gone forever from this place. No. Now we're in Halloween Ends where nothing makes any sense. Michael killed dozens of people, including some of her friends and even some more family members, and vanished into the night. For 4 years hasn't been seen. Her worst fears came true in the worst way. And Michael just kind of... I realized I had this over my webcam for the last however long. Michael just kind of vanishes. And then 4 years pass, nobody's seen Michael. And in the same city where all this happened, this nervous, wreckable woman who had PTSD and was terrified of Michael, and all this came to pass again. She buys a house in the center of the town, and she's writing a book and chilling and not stressed about anything. I'm sorry. Okay, what? The thing she dreaded for decades that seemed irrational actually happened in the worst way possible, and the killer just kind of vanishes. After killing dozens of people she knew, he just disappears into the night. And her reaction to this, instead of fleeing to another state at the minimum, is to buy a different house in the middle of the town with no security. Just a little basic house in the center of the town, and she's just living there chilling, and nobody knows where Michael is, and she's just I've made my peace with it. You made your peace with what? He's still out. He just murdered dozens of people in your town, including some of your friends, and he vanishes, and you're like, I'm cool with it. I was a wreck for 40 years when he was locked away. This is in the movie. I swear, I'm not kidding. She's like, I was a wreck for 40 years while he was locked up, but he just, it's cool. I made my peace with Michael Myers. I'm over it. Okay, that's not even the worst part of this movie. We haven't even gotten to the worst part yet, which I mentioned earlier. So Michael uses previously undetermined. I'm back and forth on this because I kind of like what they were trying to go for, but I think it was very poorly done. So Michael begins to exert some kind of psychic influence over this loner kid in town. He's kind of down on his luck. And Michael, similar to like how he kind of corrupted his niece through unknown means, except for the only thing we know is it was some kind of psychic ability of sorts or supernatural, something psychic supernatural. No official explanation is ever given for how he does it, but he does it again in a different way. This kid in town who's kind of down on his luck. He's kind of what you could kind of call a loser, not in a mean way, but he's just always got the worst luck. Nothing ever really works out for him. He's kind of on the low end of things. And someone like that gets influenced by Michael, even though Michael literally isn't even around the kid. I don't know, it's weird. It's no weirder than it was in Halloween 4, though. Sorry, Halloween 5. This kid begins to sort of become the next Michael Myers. And I mean that literally. Like, he becomes the next Michael Myers type, except nothing about that makes any sense. He didn't even meet Michael Myers. Like, yeah, there was a thing with Michael and his niece in Halloween 5, but she actually, like, Michael was around her. And even though we're talking about, like, a psychic or supernatural hold, I shouldn't rationalize it too much, but Michael actually spent time around her in influence. This kid didn't even meet Michael, so, like, I don't really know how we're justifying him just wanting to be like Michael or feeling compelled to be like Michael. But the explanation they give is that he just kind of has this darkness in him. And either the way the town treated the kid or just Michael himself or both factors just kind of pushed him into like a dark place. So this is kind of going back to Rob Zombie's a little bit with the mental health issues and being mistreated and how people can snap. We're back to that story arc, except in the canon, one of the canon timelines at least. And Laurie's granddaughter now. Oh, speaking of Laurie's kids and grandkids, we have to go over this yet again. Halloween 4, 5, and 6, she has a daughter. Okay. Halloween next timeline we get where that's all retcon. She doesn't have a daughter anymore. She has a son. Okay. Then we get to this new branch timeline where once again we have a retcon. Now she has a daughter again. It's not this daughter. The son no longer exists. This first original daughter doesn't exist anymore, but she has a daughter yet again. And this daughter also has a kid. So, boy, Laurie's family tree is messy, bruh. Can you imagine if they had like a multiversal family reunion? Be crazy. Oh, yeah. I should have went over this with Halloween 6. I totally forgot about this very important plot point that totally slipped my mind. Laurie's daughter in Halloween 4 and 5, like there's like 7 years gap into Halloween 6. She is pregnant at the beginning of the movie, and the implications there are not good. I'll let you use your imagination. It's probably exactly what you think. Because at the end of 5, she was kidnapped by the cult, which shows up in 6, and she was imprisoned, and she ends up pregnant, and I'm going to let you use your own conclusions on what happens there. She does not make it through the movie, but her child does. So Laurie's granddaughter, by a possibly unknown father, but who knows, survives at the end of Halloween 6 and is never referenced or seen again, ever. So, yeah, the family tree just gets weirder and weirder as well, just like everything else. So, 4, 5, and 6, 4 and 5, she has a daughter. 6, her daughter has a son. It was a son, it's not another daughter. It's a son named Steven, I think. Pretty sure it was a boy. It was a long time ago. I've seen this movie. Boy named Steven, who is never referenced again in the rest of the franchise. And then we get to this one where none of that happened. She has a son who's a rowdy teenager. Then we get to this one where none of them ever existed. She has a daughter again who's not the same daughter. Now she has another granddaughter who's also not the same grandchild in this one. Yeah, this series is a mess. Oh boy. I think that's it. I hope that's it for the timeline stuff because I'm about to like lose my mind over this. Um, Now back to Halloween Ends and why I hate it. I needed to get that backtracking out of the way. So it kind of wraps up later with the kid who becomes next Michael Myers has a short stint as next Michael Myers, and then yeah, I'm just gonna go for it. He gets killed by Michael Myers. So yeah, it's a mess of a movie. Nothing about this series should ever be taken seriously, honestly, because again, so many details just disappear later. To the oh boy. I don't really know what to add to this series anymore, but this is the 7 timelines. 1 on its own, 1 and 2 on their own, 3, 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6, 1, 2, 7, and 8, Rob Zombie's 2 movies, 1, and technically, I called it 2.0, 3.0, and 4.0, and technically this is 9, 10, and 11, if we were going to be literal. So 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 7, 8, Rob Zombie new version 1 and 2, 1. Sorry. Yeah, this isn't 2. I'm sorry. Then this one is 1. That's 7 and 8. 1, 9, 10, and 11. Yeah, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 7, 8, 1, 2, 1, 9, 10, 11. That's how ridiculous the Halloween timeline is. I can't. Anyway, that pretty much wraps it up, I think. Yep. But favorite Halloween movie is arguably Rob Zombie's Halloween for the storyline. I think it was really good, but for the body count, I would go with Halloween Kills because it's like the one movie in the franchise where Michael really goes ham on everybody. Crazy, crazy, crazy movie. Anyway, but that wraps up the timelines. If I'm going to have this on VODs on Twitch, but I'm also going to upload this to YouTube. So if anyone wants to go back later and watch it or anything, you'll be able to just play it back in its entirety. Yeah, I actually feel like I got a headache from doing this video. And then again, not to toot my own horn, I did this with no notes in front of me. I'm actually proud of myself. I hope I can do more videos like this without having to keep referencing notes. But for me, I've just committed these movies to memory so many times that I didn't really need any. Oh, okay. I am going to wrap it up, though. I'm going to see who's on the raid, who we can go find. Let's see what we got. Okay, yeah, I know who we're gonna raid. But anyway, I will be back tomorrow night with some more Cult of the Lamb. So if you like that stream, me playing that, you'll get to some more fun of that. Wednesday will be my first time playing Little Nightmares 2. That'll be a fun one. Thursday will be what is Thursday for me? I don't even remember actually. um, Thursday is what's my Oh, I gotta update my schedule on here too. That reminds me. I didn't update it last night. My bad. Let me look on. I forgot what game I had down for Thursday night. Oh, Mortuary Assistant again. Duh, terrorizing myself. And then Friday will be my Halloween giveaway. My Halloween stream will have giveaway, and I'll be doing some fun activities. So y'all don't want to miss that if you're free. There will be 4 giveaways actually in that stream. So food for thought. But I'm going to be doing costumes and having fun with hopefully friends and playing some Fortnite. So it will be a fun stream. Anyway, we're going to raid out now. Going to help the dude with the partner push. Trying to help her get there. Anyway, I appreciate everyone being here, and I will see you all again soon, hopefully. It was fun. Had a good turnout. Appreciate it from everybody.